What's up, everybody? I'm Tylaxo, and today we're gonna be doing some Black Desert Online. Just gonna take another sip of my coffee. Yeah! That's some good fucking coffee. Let's hop right in, shall we? So for starters, you'll be wanting to pick one of the Olvia servers, as these servers give you 100% increased XP. However, you'll only be wanting to pick these if you're a new player or a returning player who hasn't played for over a month. As the limitations on these servers is basically that you can only play on the Olvia servers for 1 month. After that, you can only, you can go to all the other servers. This whole long ass list over here. So, let's see. It doesn't really matter which channel you're using, as long as it's not crowded or overrun or anything. And if they're all crowded, well, pick any really. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna go with 3. And we're gonna select the first slot. Now, before we do this, I do want to mention that you can do this, what we're gonna show in trial. The trial means that you can actually start a character at level 60, and you'll be restricted into a special zone. You can just test the character out, see if it's really what you want to be. Like, you'll be level 60, you'll have Awakening, I think you'll have Succession to choose as well, but not sure on that one. But we're just gonna go with standard, and we're just gonna create a character. So the new class, dear lord, mother of thighs, is the Guardian. So she'll be shown as the first character. However, as you can see, there's a whole list of characters that we can pick. And the first question people usually ask is, which is the best class overall? And there is no real answer to that, because most players will play whatever they want, because there are characters that are stronger in PvP and there are characters that are stronger in PvE. However, it's only min-maxing. So if you really want to min-max and get the most out of the game, with a focus on grinding or PvP, you'll want to pick specific characters, or classes. But overall, it's just the main line of pick whatever you think will make a fun time to play, because really it's just min-maxing. Let's see, for example, the Ninja is a real PvP class. It's one of the strongest, if not the best character in PvP. And a lot of players complain about his Awakening. Still one of the best PvP classes, even though that's going on. However, in PvE, he is less so. And you'll mainly want to pick someone else if you really want to focus and min-max on PvE. For example, the Wizard over here is pretty much the best PvE class in the game, and it has been since launch, I believe. And it's really a good PvE class. So if you're grinding for money, let's say, in a zone, and if the Wizard is making 15 to 16 mil an hour, the Ninja will be making anywhere between 8 to 10 mil an hour. And even though there is a difference there, it's really nothing major. And the big difference will be, are you enjoying playing the Wizard? If so, then good for you, that's amazing. You're gonna have a pretty good time grinding. However, if you're more like, I want to play Ninja, but he's better at grinding, you're gonna have a bad time, because you're playing a class only for the grind and not really for your enjoyment. And playing the Ninja because you want to be a freaking ninja, it's gonna be a lot more fun. It's gonna be way better for you, and it's overall it's gonna make for a better experience in the whole game. And you recently they actually added the shy, and I do not recommend this as your first character, or maybe even your second, because it's a real, well, it's the first support character in the game. So she's more focused on buffs, on heals and stuff like that, but I mean, she can be good in combat. People are owning with this character. There's nothing bad about the character, but you're gonna need a lot stronger weapons and armor to compete, or even experience, because PvP can get pretty freaking intense. However, she does have 2 passives in her skill list, which you can do 5 or 6 times, I believe, because you upgrade every step in every 5 to 10 levels, I believe, something like that. And that's 1% gathering XP and 1% alchemy XP. And those are just main skills, actually. And you also get a boost in combat experience if you've gathered or done some alchemy recently. So it's a good life skill character. I do have one on which I do my life skilling, and I just gather on her, and she will be my my alchemy main. So it's pretty much a support slash life skill kind of character. So you want to be focusing on your main weapon until about level 56, because at level 56 you'll get a quest to awaken your character. And if you really want to see how a class plays, focus on the awakening videos that they show here. Because the main weapon, even though you'll be playing 1 to 56, it's pretty easily done. You can get 1 to 60 to 1 to 50, 1 to 56 you can get in a day if you're not even really trying, if you're just doing some main quests and a little bit of grinding here and there. But I believe you can get to 60 to 61 in about, well, a day or two if you're starting out and if you're new and if you're not really heavily on that grinding or really heavily into the quests. Because it can take up some time, but I actually have a video of how to get from 1 to 61 in a fairly amount of time. It's just a little roadmap to show you where you're going to be going, what you should be doing, and it'll make life a lot easier. I'll just link that in the comment section down below, and you can check it out if you want to. So there's different classes. The Guardian class is a slow tank. She can do some heavy hits. But overall, she is a fairly slow character. You need a lot of movement buffs, attack speed buffs, in order for the character to be really viable, at least in my opinion. I have this character at level 60 now. I'm gonna make her 61, because it's only quests from 60 to 61. So it shouldn't be really that hard. But at that point I'm probably gonna stop playing her. I mean, she's a lot of fun. It's a whole new type of class, but she's just too slow for me. So next one is the warrior. The warrior is a basic, basic warrior actually. You have blocking in your main set from 1 to 56, sword and shield, the basic stuff. But when you awaken, you actually get a 2-handed sword. So that's pretty awesome. And it just changes up your whole playstyle. And you'll see for a lot of characters, the switch between main weapon and awakening is very large. But as a warrior, you'll actually probably be focusing on your, well, as it says, defense and comboing your skills together. But even so, most of these skills and everything is just rotations. You learn your skills to do in a certain way that's comfortable for you or that fits a certain situation, and you just be going through them. But that's mostly just learning your character and the way that it plays. So we have your typical ranger character who starts with a bow and arrow, and in her awakening you go to dual daggers. And this is actually, I'd say, more a PvE character with because of the way that she spins and does the things. The warrior is actually more of a PvP class because of the CCs and the nice blocks. And then we have the sorceress, who goes from that type of magic with her bare hands, which sort of works in a claw-like fashion, to having a scythe. And basically when you have the scythe, it's pretty much spin to win. Because a whole lot of skills, you'll be spinning your scythe around, as you'll see in the video actually. She's just spinning all around these enemies, killing them. Well, if you like that playstyle, then definitely go for the sorceress. What they're not showing is actually the succession, because you can actually choose succession instead of awakening nowadays. And if you choose succession, you stick with your main type weapon, and you stick with those kind of skills. You do get a few new ones, but it's instead of awakening. So you can either choose succession or awakening. And you can actually choose what kind of playstyle suits you. And I must say that the succession of the sorceress has made her a lot more viable in PvP. Because with your awakening and scythe, you're more PvE focused, because it's more made for multiple mobs. So it's made for hitting 3 or 4 enemies at the same time, just spinning through them basically. So then we have the Lan, who has this sword and well, it's a weird ass knife thingy actually. See if you can pop it up here. No, it's just gonna show us the area for some weird ass reason. Ah, well. It is a very Chinese type of character, so she has an ability where she can hop through the air and just go really fast, so you can cover a lot of ground. Again, it's more PvE focused, I would say. And your awakening, you actually get 2 blades that are connected together, and it's also a lot of spinning with them, because they're chained together, so it's close to mid-range, I would say. And it's actually a pretty fun character to play, because you can just hop around and just kind of float your way through wherever you're going. And then there's the Berserker, who goes from 2 great axes to guns on his arms, which it's not really my thing, but hey, if you like having strapped 2 cannons basically to your arms and just wreaking havoc with that, you're covered. But I would say the Berserker is slightly more PvP than PvE. Just because of the CCs and the single target damage that you can do. So that's more fitted for this character. So the tamer starts off with a short sword and a really large pet that you can summon. And the way the skills work is you kind of combo your skills into a combination that your pet jumps in on. So you'll just be doing certain sword skills, and all of a sudden you can activate a skill which lets your pet do a certain slash or something like that. And in Awakening, it's with a bow staff, and you pretty much gain, well, I wouldn't say more movement, but it's more skills that involve movement. So more dashing and a little bit of a spin. Something that will actually progress you slightly further in a combat. And I would say she is more PvP oriented than PvE. She's fairly difficult to master, as you'll want to combo your skills with the pet. But overall, a pretty good class. Well, we've covered the Shy already, so we're gonna hop on to Striker. The Striker is actually my main character, and I've been loving him ever since that I've started playing with it. And it's a more PvP oriented character, but it actually is a fairly good PvEer. So it's a little bit the best of both worlds, actually. Though I would say that the Mystic, which is same class but slightly different, is somewhat better in PvP, and that the Striker is slightly better in PvE. So if you want to min-max even more, I'd go and think about what do you want? Do you want to go a little bit more PvE, or do you want to go a little bit more PvP? Depending on your choice, you want to pick Striker or Mystic. They both use these gauntlets as their weapons, so they're a real melee character. And when the Striker awakens, you actually get just a different set of gauntlets. However, you get a skill which spawns these sort of avatars, or can spawn these avatars during certain combos. And it's basically just chaining damage, because they will inflict also multiple hits. They will trigger sort of an earthquake type of attack, and it just does more damage. But you'll be switching between your skills, as they don't always spawn when you do that skill. There's a slight cooldown, after which they will again spawn when you use that skill. Then you have the Musa, which is basically the samurai character in its main. And it's just, well, pretty much they nailed down the samurai. It's pretty good, and as you can see, you're just slashing all around. And in Awakening, you'll be getting a halberd type of weapon, and it's again, it's pretty much spin to win, because you'll be spinning all around the place. And I must say, it's a pretty fun character. You do also have certain dashes and certain skills in which you slash in the air, and it just propels the slash forward, and it will give you a certain amount of range. And because of some of these skills, it's actually good PvEer. However, because you have certain dashes you can sort of spam, it is actually a good PvPer, because you can actually just engage combat in PvP and just dash away, dash back in, and just continue to do this back and forth type of thing. And if you master that, you'll actually be a very good PvPer. So just putting that out there. The Meiwa is pretty much the same. It's just that well, it's just the counterpart of the Musa, just as the Mystic and the Striker. And the Meiwa in this case is also slightly more PvP oriented. And she carries a carry spear in her Awakening instead of that halberd type of weapon. So it's more stabs and slashes really, and that's why you'll have more control in PvP than the Musa would, because it's more of an AoE slash and hers is more of a stab. Again, you can hit multiple enemies, but again, it's more of a stab. So pretty basic really. I'm gonna go on to Valkyrie. The Valkyrie starts with a sword and a shield. And you don't really have a lot of mobility. However, you're more oriented to PvP, both in your main and your Awakening. Because if you make any kind of dash during combat with your Valkyrie, you'll actually go into a shielded position, which you really want in PvP, because you'll actually always be sort of defending yourself. Which makes sense, because she's a tank. And in Awakening, you'll actually be carrying a shield and a lance, as you can see right here. And your Awakening gives you somewhat more of AoE abilities and makes it a lot easier for you to do some grinding. So again, it's a sort of combo of both. But she doesn't excel really at either. I would say she's better at PvP than PvE. But I've seen a lot of people just go PvE with her, so... Again, it just boils down to, do you want to play this type of character? Does this fit your playstyle? Does this seem like a character you would really enjoy? Then go with it. Just really pick the character that you really think you would enjoy. So, Kunoichi and Ninja, they're pretty much the same type of characters. Though I would say that Kuno is more oriented to PvE, and you'll see that here immediately. She's wielding 2 chakrams, and she's just more dashing around, and as you can see, there was an AoE blast, just throwing that thing, it just bounces everywhere. Whereas the ninja, he does a wide slash, however, it's more single targeted than the Kuno would. She's more slashing all around her, and the ninja has more focused attacks, and they both can do PvE. All the characters can do PvE. However, they're both more oriented to PvP. And the ninja would be better than the Kuno, but they're both still way above a whole lot of others. So if you're just doing open world PvP, like if that's your thing, if you like to engage other players in PvP combat, just in the open world, I would pick ninja, because it's more of that one-on-one, sometimes two-on-one situations, and you really excel. If you really want to be doing node wars and guild wars and that type of stuff, then I would look more towards the Mystic, as she's more of an all-round PvPer, and she can take more hits, and she's slightly more defensive on that front, that she can take 2 or more enemies. Like, don't think you can handle 3 high tier guys if you're a low tier kind of character, but it's more, you have more sustainability, you can move around a lot more, and it makes a few things a lot easier. But still, ninja, very good for a whole lot of situations. Like even in Node Wars, there are ninjas, because they are pretty useful for certain tactics and certain situations. So yeah, if you want to pick a ninja, then there is one. So for Dark Knight, I would actually say it's more PvE than PvP. Although her succession has made her, in a whole lot of cases, a lot better. Because you'll be wielding your main weapon type of style, and you can just CC a whole lot more. And it makes the character very different from its awakening state, and it's really fun to play, actually. So in your main weapon type of style, you'll have a 2-handed sword, which, as you see, you're just slashing around, and it's pretty good for PvE. And in your awakening, you'll actually have these sort of 2 blades that you can just, well, pretty much throw all around. Again, very good for PvE, as you're doing more AoE type of attacks. So that's pretty much the Dark Knight there. Now, if you're really into PvE, the Wizard or Witch will be great for you. The Wizard starts off with a staff and a dagger, and you'll be having a choice of a whole lot of skills. Like, you can go fire, water, earth, and I believe even air. Not sure about the last one, but pretty sure. And in your awakening, you'll actually have 2 orbs, and you'll be doing pretty much fire or water attacks, but you also gain access to 2 types of summons. You'll be able to summon a water nymph, I believe, and a sort of fire brute. Though I believe most players actually use the fire brute, because it's pretty much a tank for you. He aggroes the mobs, so he takes all the hits, and he can actually take a whole lot of damage before anything happens to him. And he's just a very fun guy to use, in my opinion. Just a big red guy just walking around with you. But it's in Awakening you have a whole lot of AoE skills. I believe there's maybe one skill that's slightly more single target, but pretty much everything you do is AoE. And that's the main reason why it makes him so good at PvE. You also have a teleport skill, which you can actually expand to do it twice. So you'll teleport from A to B, and then you'll be able to do it instantly again, and you'll just get further. And it's a very good mobile character, and just AoE all around. Though I would say the wizard is slightly better than the witch, or actually a fair amount better than the witch. It's just a way more smooth playstyle. You can easily transition from one skill to another. It just feels more natural, and the summons really make it. And the ones that the wizard can summon are, in my opinion, a lot better. So if you're gonna go with one of the two, and if it doesn't really matter to you if you want to be a male or a female, I would pick wizard. But again, it boils down to what do you want, what do you like. And if you really like the witch, you think she looks awesome and her skills look really awesome, pick the witch. Really, it's gonna make the game a whole lot more fun, and you're gonna just enjoy the whole experience a lot more. And last, but certainly not least, is the archer. The archer is a highly mobile character with very good AoE, but also very good PvE potential. So, sorry, PvP potential. So, as you can see, you're just dashing around and just hitting pretty much everything. And a good way of playing the archer is just hitting multiple groups and just herding them together, and then doing certain AoE skills to just mow them all down. And in your main weapon style, you'll actually be having a sort of crossbow on your wrist, on your arm, and you'll be pretty much doing some switches between AoE and single targets. Single targets are more for, like I said, herding them together, and then the AoE is to finish them off. And in your awakening, you'll actually receive a longbow, and you'll be very mobile in this in your awakening, and you'll have a decent amount of AoE as well as single targets, and you'll actually have also a charge shot which can dish out a lot of damage. So if you want to be a more mobile character which wields a type of bow, and you really like that the mix-up of AoE and PvP, or PvE and PvP, then the archer really is your guy. So I hope that wasn't too much information, as this can be overwhelming as if you're new, because there's like what, 17 characters or something like that, and it actually all boils down to what do you like to play, or what would you enjoy playing, what looks cool or awesome to you, what do you want to do with the character. And again, check out the main weapon, but more importantly the awakening weapon, the little videos down in the corner. Check those out and see what really makes you feel like you want to play that character, because you're gonna have a lot more fun. It's gonna be a lot more enjoyable, and you'll play the game a whole lot more if it's a class and a character that you really enjoy playing, or that you're really interested in. Because if you want to play a wizard but you really don't want to be a wizard, it's just not gonna be fun. You'll be able to grind, but if it's no fun, you'll grind for an hour or maybe two. Whereas with ninja, if it's fun, you'd grind for maybe 6 hours, and you're gonna have a lot more profit than you would with a wizard. So, but then again, it's all up to you. So I'm gonna end this video here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and hit the little bell thingy if you don't want to miss any future content. It really helps out this channel, and it gets the videos into the YouTube search engine thingy, and really places the videos more higher, and let's make more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.